a world champion of chess boxing. Matt Thomas today on this episode is going to blow your mind. Here's what's so amazing about Matt. He is a digital creative, he's an entrepreneur, and he's also one of the world's best brain athletes. He's the world champion chess boxer. Yeah, you heard me right. He is actually boxing and playing chess at the same time and is a world champion. It's a real sport. And as you'll learn from Matt, it's also one of those things that he was able to create an incredible story around it. If you've tried to figure out a way to tell your story, gosh, Matt is going to blow your mind to help understand how we tell our story today, how we stand out, how we be different, and especially how we share in a way that is real and authentic and quite honestly shows what makes us unique. Matt is at the forefront of a modern movement trying to bring this idea to a sport that seems violent on one hand and intellectual on the other, chess boxing and mixed martial arts. I think what you'll learn a lot from Matt is just how today we think differently. And in particular, if you've thought, how do you wind up becoming an influencer? How do you wind up spreading your story? You'll learn a lot from Matt, this mixture of vulnerability, this mixture of being able to put yourself out there, but most importantly, the ability to raise other people up. That's how you raise yourself. Matt is the founder of Brawl for a Cause, which has helped brawlers tell their own hero's journey to raise money for charity through celebrities, through charity boxing matches. An amazing story. You'll learn a lot from him. In particular, this is how you elevate yourself, by elevating others. If you want to tell your story and raise yourself as an author, as a creator, as a YouTube star, elevate others, and that's how you elevate yourself. Matt Thomas, an amazing human. One of my conversations that blew my mind. You're going to love and learn a lot today. We get in front of our desks and stuff like that. We don't think about these things. What is it that kind of like holds so many people back from doing this?
We all have egos. And some egos are big egos, some egos are small egos. They come in all different flavors, but everyone has one. And that's okay. Getting to know your ego is a really important step to starting to eradicate parts of your ego that hold you back. Mm-hmm. And so a lot of people sign up for Brawl for a Cause for the right reasons. Hey, I want to do some good in the world. Right. I know that by taking some punches and going through some short-term pain, there will be long-term gain, not just for this cause that I'm championing, but also for myself. I'm willing to go through adversity and through these challenges, these trials, in order to become a better person and to make the world a little better in the process.
There's this new era of celebrity boxing is what they called it. And I saw that and they were like this new era. And I realized that you were so far ahead of the curve here when you started Brawl for a Cause that there was this sort of sense of like the sort of normal people getting in the boxer side of boxing game and to be able to sort of see this world here. So why don't you tell us a little bit about how you got the inspiration to start Brawl for a Cause, which has raised millions of dollars, I think now, for causes through getting people who are not boxers into a room, teaching them how to fight and to learn how to box, and then raise money for their cause.
We take first-time fighters through a 90-day program. So they learn how to defend themselves, how to throw a punch. And the reason that they're willing to do it is they sign up to fight for a charity that they personally believe in. So something that's affected them, affected a community that they're a part of. And as they go through this journey, which I'll call a hero's journey.
Okay. Christopher Booker has taken the hero's journey and studied like over 10,000 different stories from movies and books and realized there's what's called 7 plots. So building on top of this circle where a hero goes through these sorts of stages, they've broken it down. So there's what's called overcoming the monster. There's a voyage and return. There's a deeper layer behind it. And it's interesting because as they're writing stories from people they've interviewed and stuff like that, they sort of figure out these different stories fit with different things, but they all kind of come down to this. There is a hero and they go through some kind of a journey to end up at a place where there's resolution.
So each one of our everyday people that have never fought before have a death and rebirth when they sign up to Brawl. No longer are they a salesperson, CEO, influencer, whatever. Now they're a brawler. Yeah. And with that death and rebirth comes a departure from your regular comfort zone, from your home, whatever. And that departure is into the wilderness. So you're not coming from the place of cheese dip and happy hour beers anymore. Now you're embarking into the wilderness of early morning runs and meeting up after work to trade shots, get some sparring in. And that's when training begins. And when training begins, you're assigned a mentor. There's inherent challenges like getting punched in the face. Doesn't feel great. and it says a lot about someone to get punched in the face and come back the next day, say, okay, I know what I did wrong and I can get better, instead of, I don't want that to happen to me anymore, and shying away from it, choosing courage over comfort. And then, not even just the physical side, but all these people are fundraising for what they believe in. Asking people for money is a very difficult thing. So picking up the phone and putting yourself out there to potentially be let down and fail and be rejected for something that you care about is a really scary thing. Getting to know your ego is a really important step to starting to eradicate parts of your ego that hold you back. We try to do a lot of reframing. A lot of people, when they go through this Brawl for a Cause journey, they'll watch videos of professional fighters and think that they're doing the same thing. And they aren't. Yeah. It could not be more different. Right. You don't, I'm sorry, but no one on this call, no one except for one person has the kind of natural talent and power that Mike Tyson had. Yeah. So when you're watching all of his highlight videos and you're worried about someone hitting you that hard, or you're trying to figure out how to get your hips to turn like that,
it's been amazing to watch because, we got to meet several years ago, but this is now like you guys sort of host this, or were hosting this before, and like the Atlanta Falcons Stadium, right?
By the numbers, that was our most successful event and our inflection point. So we went from raising a little over $100,000 in 7 events leading up to that one, to raising and donating over $250,000 with that one event.
That's crazy.
So like 2.5x growth. And I oftentimes feel like I'm not in control of my life. I feel pulled into opportunities or storylines, much like stories and heroes and stories, where Harry Potter didn't choose to have a scar on his forehead and to lose his parents, but he was pulled into this fated kind of storyline. And the chess boxing story feels similarly. My very first amateur fight ever, I dislocate my shoulder in the first round.
Really?
30 seconds in, I send my shoulder out of socket with a right cross right down to the top of the guy's head. He comes up into it. At the same time, I lock out my elbow. Boom, it's out of socket. And my shoulders have come out of socket before. I've loose joints. So I start trying to put it back in. And I have 8 seconds to put it back in before the ref would call the fight or send me to the doctor. Couldn't get my shoulder back in. So ref sends me over to the doctor. I end up winning the fight. And it's one of the most life-defining moments of my life. I claw my way back, win on points, knock him down twice in the 3rd round. Really, really impactful. But I had irreparable damage to my shoulder that required surgery just to get back to about 80% of what it used to be. It's in Calcutta, India, and no American has ever competed in the World Championship. We've never had an American, Team USA, or an American enter the competition. So if I signed up to fight in it, I'd be the first American ever. I'd be going from 0 to 100. Like I had never done this before, and now I'm going to fight the best people in the world at it. Chess boxing is the board game chess combined with the combat sport boxing. You alternate rounds between the two until there's checkmate or knockout. Some of the chess boxers in the world have over 100 amateur fights and a couple dozen pro fights.
Right.
So these are people that could be on HBO on an undercard with Mayweather and Tyson and all the big names. When I started training, I knew I wasn't going to be the best chess player, and I knew I wasn't going to be the best fighter. So what I chose to focus on was the transition. So my very first day of training, I went to this is probably the video you saw or the story that you heard. Yeah. I went to a kids summer camp for chess.
Yes.
So ages 8 through 12. And my coach had me sit down in the middle of the room and play every single kid in speed chess. Time is a big factor. You got to move quick. If you run out of time, you lose. And that equates to chess boxing too. This is the day after my 28th birthday when I announced to all my friends, family, and the people in my nonprofit organization that I'm going to be representing the United States in chess boxing, of which chess is an integral part of that competition. And I can't beat an 8-year-old. Once I went home, slept on it, woke up the next day, looked in the mirror, saw all those brawlers that I had the same conversation with. It's like, you don't actually want to quit. You just want to quit right now. Like you're going to look back at this and regret it if you quit. Recommit. Like use this as a part of your story. Use this as something that you overcame that builds confidence to your ultimate victory, not something that makes you quit way too early. I kept getting my butt kicked by kids. I'd spent 6 to 8 hours a day on chess. The other 2 to 3 hours a day, I was doing hard boxing or cardio. And I made my full-time job preparing for the World Championship. And 8 weeks later, went over to Calcutta, India, I got to go through my own brawler's journey through this experience and really live it and believe it that much more. Stoicism, if you aren't familiar with it, Google Seneca and read some of his letters.
Yeah, Ryan Holiday's written a bunch of great books on it. If you're looking for an author.
Ego is the enemy, obstacle is the way are great ones, more modern approaches to Stoicism. But one of the core tenets of Stoicism is worst case scenario. So if I'm okay with the worst that this could go, if it's still somehow a positive, and everything else is icing on the cake. Everything else is just extra and good.
Right.
So my worst case scenario for this was, okay, I could lose the fight as long as awareness is generated for the sport,
right,
and the nonprofit benefits in some way, whether that's storytelling or more people finding out about Brawl for a Cause because of this journey, then it's a win. And as soon as I had that one check mark in my mind, then I could let go of everything that could go wrong. The most important thing you can understand and practice in life, because if you are not fully present, you're not investing all of your focus and energy into what can make the most difference for the rest of your life. If you're only putting 50% of your time and effort into the present moment, and 50% is caught with that mistake, caught up in that mistake that you made last week, or that thing that your mom said to you when you were 4.
Right.
I could lose money, I could whatever. Well, now you aren't focusing on getting better at the thing that's going to help that not happen.
Yep.
Not doing your chess puzzles, not going for the run, not getting your heavy bag reps or whatever.
Yeah.
So as much as you can, using your breath to be like, oh, I'm breathing, I'm here. Whatever else thinking about, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's good to a degree, but all things in balance and moderation. And if it's taking out of the present moment and doing what you're put on this planet to do, living out your hero's journey on your quest, if it's taking you away from that, change it.
I love it, man. This is such, it's so interesting here that we talk about analogies. Your experience thinking about chess and chess boxing and the hero's journey is so great.
Google owns YouTube and served me chess boxing, and Google trolled my inbox and was like, hey dude, you're about to miss something. get in the car. So it worked out. But so there isn't really an answer. Being self-centered can be selfless.
Right.
And I think it all comes back to intention. Like the reason why you're doing something. Are you doing it because you want to hoard resources? Are you doing it because you want to be better than someone else? Or are you doing it because you want to live life fully? And whatever that means to you, whatever your vocation is, whatever your purpose is, whatever your personal destiny is.